Hi, and welcome to the third of this 5-element breathwork mini-series. Today we're working with the element of fire. Now, to do the practices that I have for you for this element, find a really, really comfortable seated position. So we're going to be working with a yogic practice, and it's called Kapalabhati, which translates to breath of fire. And what we need to be able to do this practice is really comfortable, relaxed abdominals. So standing isn't ideal because we ultimately use our abdominal muscles to, to support us as we're standing. And that's why a seated posture is the best. I'm just using, a fairly, a meditation cushion, but you might just like to use a folded blanket or a nice firm pillow. You might want to sit on a chair, whichever way you feel most comfortable. One little tip is that having the knees a little lower than the hips gives you a posture that you can maintain for a little bit. It's just a little bit more comfortable. But also we want our spine to be nice and upright. So the element of fire, we've just moved on from the element of earth and water, which are both a very downward, very heavy energy in the body, and very grounding, stable, and very much to do with our sort of physical structure and form. When we move into the element of fire, we're now moving into dynamic and light, and an energy that's rising upwards. So as such, the element of fire is to do with transformation in our body. So it's also, the element that embodies our willpower. What's that spark of motivation, of personal, purposeful will that we have? So there's many physiological reasons as well why the fire element is to do with transformation. So when we study like the chakras and the yoga philosophy, which I guess, stems into other, areas of study as well, we're working predominantly with the solar plexus energy center when we work with the element of fire. Now, it's really, really interesting to know that in yoga, we refer to the nadis, which are, if you think of the meridians, it's 72,000 points of little directions of energy or energy points in the body. And it just so happens that, there's 144,000, I think in total of them, but 72,000 of them pass through this area of the solar plexus. So what the point that I'm trying to make here is that we can change so much in our physiological structure by working with the element of fire in our belly. Now, obviously, this area also correlates a lot to our digestion. So if you notice that your digestion is sluggish, you need to up the fire. I did do in the first series that I did, I actually worked with Agni Sara, which is an amazing cleansing practice. Now, I've actually left those videos in this group, in the sort of discussion feed. So if you go back to the original and you want to do Agni Sara, I'd highly recommend it. And I take you through that quite slowly as if you've never done it before. So, but what we're going to do is just work with this Kapalabhati practice. Now, there are some contraindications for this practice. If you've got issues with your heart and blood pressure, this practice also, if you've got things like detached retina, I think you'd probably be okay. It depends how chronic or how serious the nature of your ailment is. But you might need to seek some advice, because when we work with this practice, it's very, very cleansing and purifying. And if done incorrectly, could put added pressure, more so on the heart, but also possibly if it could, draw a lot of pressure up into the head. And that's more if you're not doing it correctly. If you have any concerns, just reach out, just send me a DM, and I'm more than happy to have a quick discussion with you about that. And if you might need to seek further medical advice first. Also, pregnant women, I should add there, sorry, because anything that adds heat to the body, we know when we're pregnant we need to avoid those practices. So I would just simply avoid this if you're pregnant. You could possibly do the practice. You could practice the technique, but just don't repetitively do it because it's the repetition of it fast that builds the heat. Now, this Kapalabhati is, when we master it, we can sit and do it quite easily when we practice it over time. And it's said that it vibrates every cell in the body. So it really just purifies and cleanses. Now, when I say purify, I'm talking not only about getting the digestive system, on fire again, really getting it working and moving. But I'm also talking about on a cellular level as well. So, and then in an energetic sort of sense. So from the yoga perspective, with our energy body, we have impressions upon our energy body, which can create, if you want, for lack of a better word, an impurity. And it's not like you're not impure in a dirty sense. It's just that it becomes, if you think of yourself as a beautiful, perfect human, but we're living in this earth experience, and as such, we get these impressions from the world around us. They're impressions on the subtle energy body. Some people think of them as like blocks, but in a nutshell, these practices can help to burn through those impurities, to release them, okay, and so that the light can shine. So let's move into the practice. So bring awareness. So you bring awareness to your belly. Now, again, like all breathwork practices, it's much better done on an empty stomach. In fact, if you tried to do this practice when you've just eaten, it can actually have probably the reverse effect. It can be a little damaging for you. So definitely doing first thing in the morning, or at least waiting 2 hours before you after food. So I like to do it by just sort of placing my, becoming aware of the navel, and then about an inch below the navel, and just placing my hands, my fingertips there. And even just, this action where, if you can see my fingers moving, this is the action we're going to be working with. And we're working with the abdominal wall. And I love to keep my fingers here and almost prompt those lower abdominals to really do most of the work. Now, the reason why that's good is because when we start out at doing this practice, I remember when I first started learning it myself, my diaphragm would always want to get involved too. But what we want to try and learn is to not let the diaphragm take over. It's normal to an extent for the diaphragm to move with it because we're doing breath work, but we don't want the diaphragm as a muscle trying to activate the movement. We want the lower abdominals, okay? Now, if you feel, you'll know that your diaphragm is switching on if you feel tension after you've done the practice. So I invite you to just perhaps slow the practice down in the beginning when you're learning it, and do it slower and hold your mind firmly in this lower area and keep the other hand here so that you can really, look, if you watch my hands here, my top hand isn't even moving. It's all happening with that lower. I'm going to do it sideways as well, just so that you can see. It's a bit hard because I've got white on. But if I put my hands down here, diaphragm's up here, and it's a okay. So what we're doing with Kapalabhati is we are taking a breath in, a nice deep breath into the belly, making sure we feel nice and relaxed. Okay. And I like to just actually let my belly flop. So nice breath in and expand. And then it's a powerful abdominal contraction. And keep in mind, when we do something like Ujjayi breath, we're exhaling to our fullest. So that the navel's kind of drawing all the way back towards the spine. But with this practice, you don't have to do that. It's like it's a pump. So it's you're only breathing out as much as the muscular contraction, if that makes sense. So hands on the belly, take a breath in, expand, and then I want you to use those abdominal muscles and pump backwards with the exhale. And it's through the nose. So breath in, expand, and then pump. Inhale. Okay, so you should feel these lower abdominals working. Now, if you can feel the diaphragm getting involved, stay here and practice it like this. Okay, even both hands. Really, you could press quite firmly, even skin to skin. Bring your hands onto your actual skin and feel those muscles. Closing your eyes, internalize the practice. Nice big breath in. Feel that softening through the abdominal wall or that expansion through the muscles. And then a powerful exhale, an inch below the navel. And again, breathe in. So breathe. We're doing it a little. We'll move on from this portion of the practice to do it correctly in a moment. But it's just so you can get the technique. So powerful exhale, contract. Inhale. Nice big belly and exhale. Okay. Now, if you feel ready, you could move on to the full Kapalabhati. So it becomes, the focus is on just the first inhalation and then it's a series of pumps backwards. Now, when we do those series of pumps on the exhale, you're not taking a breath in as such, but you're allowing the body to just return back out. Now, I want you to think of a pump, like a foot pump, when you're pumping up an air mattress, and it does this action, okay? So it's inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. So this part here, the inhale, which is the coming back out, you're not actually making a breath, like you're not doing this. What you're doing is you're exhaling, and then you're just letting the tummy like in a physical sense move back out. So you can't hear, if I was to be working with the breath in both directions, it'd sound like this. So exhale first. Okay, so notice the difference. It's first an inhale and then a and we always complete the practice with a nice exhale. It's a little bit slower than the rest. It's a bit more of a full exhale and then release the practice. Take a couple of breaths. You might want to put your hand on your belly, feel and on your diaphragm. Tune in, notice what you feel. Does the diaphragm feel like it's had a bit of a workout? Can you feel the abdominals? Let everything relax. Just find smoothness and softening again before you commence the second round. Just taking nice, easeful, natural, flowing breaths. And then when you feel ready, we can return to the practice. And I would suggest when you're beginning here, aim for 5 to 10 pumps. So it's a breath in and then pumps. Relax. Let the breath return to normal. With any breath practice, we never force beyond our own inherent natural capability. It's not a competition. The competition lies for you in cultivating your awareness of your own edge And this all translates into your own capacity to know your own boundaries. And this, of course, we take this off the mat into our world. So be really strict with yourself here. Do what feels comfortable. If you feel like your diaphragm's starting to tire, you need to take it back a little. Do it just one pump at a time, like we did at the start. So this practice is very good. When you will build up and build up. If you practice it every day, especially if you can do it as part of the audio download, when you get amazing at it, you could do up to 100 pumps, because you'll know you won't be running out of steam. So you'll know you're running out of steam because you just feel there'll be a bit of a contraction and a bit of a pressure in it, like you're running out of breath. And that's when you know you need to just take that final pump and just release the practice, let everything come back. Let's do it one more time. So big breath in. Notice the sensations in your body. Can you feel a sense of vibration? And if you feel like you've got a little bit more capacity, I invite you to just do a few more rounds of this after this video. Feeling the body just soften and release, coming back to normal. Bringing the hands to the heart. Feel gratitude for the wisdom that lies within. Feeling thankful for the element of fire, a capacity to transform, to have will. The place where we can invite consciousness and apply it to action so that we move forward aligned to our truth, aligned to our purpose, our passion. When we are truly aligned to our center, there's a natural, easeful motivation. Our action flows. It's much more effortless. Bring your hands up to your forehead in the prayer position. May we have clarity in our perception. And then hands at the throat. May we have truth in our expression. And then hands at the heart. May we feel joy. Namaste.